nice.
Yeah. Yes, 39th episode. Welcome, everybody. I'm Stephen, the Horror Freak 85. Welcome to tonight's episode of the House of Horrors. And our guest tonight is Fedor Steer. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
So,
And I should just correct you slightly. It's pronounced Fedor.
Fedor. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's Fedor.
No, it's okay. It used to be Fedor, but now I'm Fedor.
Okay.
It's the Dutch pronunciation. I was born in Holland, and it was pronounced Fedor for the longest time until we moved to Canada, and then it became Fedor.
Okay.
And but then when I met my wife, we were on the Dutch Caribbean island of Curaçao, and at that time I was calling myself Fedor because I was speaking Dutch. So my wife got to know me as Fedor.
Mhm.
So I switched back to Fedor.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. An interesting story there.
Yeah,
like my
that's-
last name's German, and it's like people say P Flug, it's Flug, and people are like P Flug, and I've heard so many different.
Oh yeah, I bet, yeah.
So names are
Okay.
interesting. So yeah,
I just get people nobody spells my name right on the first try, and it's just something simple. But I never had problems with last names. But
yeah.
Good. All right.
So I guess I'll start. When you first started acting, or how old were you when you started acting? Who or what inspired you? What kind of shows or individual person inspired you?
Okay. Well, there's a whole lot right there. My first acting job was probably 6th grade. We did the Christmas play, and I played Santa Claus. I played skinny Santa Claus. There was 2 Santa Clauses. Santa Claus was getting a little overweight, and he kind of had a bit of a nightmare, a bit of a scare, and then he woke up from his dream as skinny Santa Claus, and that was me. My beard fell off, and was my first and only stage experience for a long time. And then I didn't do any acting at all anymore for a long time. I was actually working as an officer on a cruise ship, and in the Caribbean, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who you might know from Third Rock from the Sun.
Third Rock from the Sun, yeah.
Yeah, and many movies since then, including Loopers and a few others. And he and his family showed up on the cruise ship, and spent a lot of time talking with his mom, especially his dad, about life on a Hollywood set. So that sounds like fun, I thought. And I said, you should try it. You should try it. You're gonna get jobs because you have a look. You have a look that a lot of people don't have, and you don't even have to be a very good actor. You're going to get work. I said, oh, well, I hadn't thought of it that way. So sure enough, when I got off the cruise ship, I said, let me try this thing. And I got an agent. I walked in, and she had me hold up a Pepsi can, and I said my lines, and I think I called it a Coke can instead. But oh, look at that! Yes, except I called it.
She always has a Pepsi, so that's kind of funny when you said Pepsi. I was like, okay, wait for it.
Yeah. But I messed up my lines. I said Coke instead of Pepsi. He said that's okay. He said I'll take you on. We're going to get you parts. You'll probably be like the nasty guy in the dark alley, that kind of thing. I said sure, yeah, whatever. And I very quickly. I started getting parts as extra. And my very first time on set was for the TV version of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It was Disney, and this is up in Calgary, up in Canada. And they held all of us extras in the back of the set somewhere. And then finally they brought us forward. And as soon as I walked onto the actual sound studio stage, the wardrobe and the hair people started crowding around me. And it's like, yeah. Oh man, we gotta get you on next week's show. I said, what's going on here? He said, you look just like our guest star for next week's show. And I said, okay. And I showed up. I had no idea who they were talking about. And turned out to be Michael Berryman. And I don't know if you know him from The Hills Have Eyes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, I never got to meet him because I ended up leaving the country to do some work overseas. I met my wife. We had kids, and I really didn't do any more acting. But in the back of my head, I said, that was working. I was getting work, and I hadn't even really put a whole lot of effort into it yet. And so then I'll give it a try, and again sometime. And when we settled in Florida, my kids got a little bit older. got an agent in Miami. I just started doing little independent films. Start building up my resume a bit more here and there, and eventually started getting bigger and bigger stuff. And so when I restarted there, that's been about what now 8 or 10 years now, and you know, it's getting pretty busy now, which is nice. I'm really having a lot of fun with this. Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of Michael Berryman, he was in the Mad Hatter with thing. So did you finally meet him on that set, or you still didn't?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I should have quit my acting career right then because everything came full circle that day. They kept talking about it. So we were playing some kind of like a zombie type character, and then there was 2 of us, and there was going to be a 3rd guy, and they kept talking about him. They didn't say his name, but they said that he this actor that's going to come in, he can't get hot. And I was like, oh man, what kind of diva is this guy? He just can't get hot. We're out in the hot Florida sun filming, and he just can't get hot. Come on. It's part of the job. Well, then it turned out to be Michael Berryman, but he, if you know him, if you look him up, he's got a medical condition where he cannot sweat, so he cannot get hot because he will die. He can't release that heat from his body. So I said, okay, now I understand. But I met him and I said, man, I said, you were there, kind of, sort of, at the beginning of my acting career, and I told him the whole story about how I was his photo double for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and man, what a great guy. He was right away. He was like, oh man, we got to get a picture taken together, and you know, and I should have just quit my acting job right there and then. Full circle, all the way around, beginning to end.
That's right. Which episode of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was that? I used to watch that all the time. There was, unlike the movie, they did like different inventions and besides being shrunk and a whole bunch of stuff. Sort of remember.
Oh, okay. You remember that? Yeah. Okay. So I played. I was an extra in 2 episodes. The first one was a bunch of aliens came, and the 2 main characters, Mark Singer and I can't remember the other guy's name. They were walking down the hall of the alien spaceship, and I just kind of passed them, going the other direction. And then in the other episode I did was a Halloween episode. It was the Hook-Handed Man, and that was where I played Michael Berryman's photo double. And all you really see of me is my hand, or actually not even my hand. It could have been anybody, because all you see is a claw reaching into the frame and kind of scraping along a telephone pole, and then another spot where I think I scraped along a wall or something. That was it. Could have been anybody.
Right.
They actually wanted me. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, finish what you're saying, and then I'll tell.
No,
you.
I was going to say they actually wanted me to play some other shots, do some other shots as well, you know, from a distance, because you know, bald and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Same thing. They couldn't have him being outside for very long, so that's why they needed a photo double. But I already had plane tickets to fly to the Caribbean, and so I couldn't do any more. And that's when I met my wife and all that stuff. So that was the long pause in the acting career until things kicked up again. Yeah.
So you guys get to meet him. Are you guys about the same height-wise?
Yeah, I think pretty close. I have a picture on my Instagram somewhere where it shows it's the 2 of us, and I love the caption underneath. It says, "The hills have eyes." Meets The Haunting of Hill House. That's pretty cool. Such a nice guy, though. He's got a book coming out soon that kind of describes his life and you know, the origin of his origin stories, which is it has to do back in the Second World War. I guess his father was one of the first people to arrive in Japan after the nuclear bombs exploded, and that kind of resulted in his condition. And so he had a lot of interesting things to say.
Yeah, he was on I don't know if you know who Joe Bob Briggs is in the Shudder, but he was on there and he was talking a lot about that. It was a lot of interesting stuff he was saying. That's how I knew about his medical condition.
Yeah, and I can't remember what it's called. I'm not.
Yeah, I think it was before the book, so I couldn't tell you what that was called either.
Yeah.
I have to check out
sorry. I was just wondering, have you met back up with Joseph Gordon-Levitt since you started acting? Since you met him on the cruise ship that inspired you?
No. I mean, he he's gone on to do such great big things. I did stay in touch with his mom a long time. I went and visited them in L.A. One time. Went over to dinner, and that was fun because his parents are such nice people, and we're talking, and we were going to go sit down for dinner. And they call to Joseph. He's up in his bedroom somewhere, so he comes down, and with him comes Julia Stiles, which I didn't know she was there, but they were dating at the time, and so we sat around and had dinner, and wonderful, wonderful people. But I noticed all of a sudden things kind of got a little quiet. I said, "What's going on? What did I say something wrong? Did I overstay my welcome?" And then I realized it was I think it was 8 o'clock or something, and Julia Stiles had started a show that was coming on TV right at 8 o'clock, and they all wanted to go watch, but they were too polite to say anything. And just hoping that I would hands and leave. Could watch their show with Julia.
So apparently she didn't save the last dance for you then.
No.
A little pun there. She was in Save the Last Dance. Anyway.
No, but really wonderful people, and I did stay in touch with the mom for quite a long time.
That's awesome. Those sound like great people.
Yeah. So you asked me about my inspiration. I think that probably was my inspiration there, to talk to real people who were in the business and kind of taught me about what it's like to be in front of the camera, behind the camera. One of the things that really struck me, really stuck with me the whole time. One of the things they said was talking about the people that you meet on a film set, and they said something along the lines of actors and the production people. They're smart, they're interesting, they're energetic, they're creative. They're some of the best people that you can expect to ever work with, and that kind of stuck with me. And it was kind of one of the thoughts behind giving this a try, and I found it to be very much true. When you get on a film set, they are some of the most wonderful people that you could ever imagine working with. Part of it, I think, and this is my own little theory here, I think it's very Darwinian. When you're working in film, actors and production people, their livelihood is job to job to job. They have a film wraps, they're done. They can only hope to get on another film to make more money to support themselves. If they're not good at their jobs, if they don't show up on time, if they are real jerks, if they aren't paying attention and on top of the game all the time, they're not going to get hired back. So there's very quickly there's this weeding out process, a survival of the fittest process, where the people that keep getting invited back and make it to the top level of production, they've proven themselves to be good people and capable and worthy of being on these film sets. And that's the kind of people you end up working with on a day-to-day basis on set. And that's some of the best people around. It's really, really fun and cool to be with people like that.
While being on set like that, is there anyone, whether they're another actor or worked on the crew, that taught you anything or that helped you out along the way?
I mean, I don't know if there's any one particular person that I can say, okay, that person, yeah, that was the one that changed everything for me. No, for me, I find anytime I go to set, anytime I work with anybody else, I try to learn. I try to pick up things, clues, hints, tips, techniques from the people that are there. I'm always watching the other actors, and I'm always impressed with the talent that people have. On Haunting of Hill House, I remember Oliver Cohen Jackson. There was one scene where he's walking down the sidewalk, and I'm following him backwards, floating. And that actually was not me. That was I had a stunt double who was about a foot shorter than I was. And the reason is that they put the stunt guy, Austin was his name. They put him on a platform that was held up on like a tractor, and this tractor was coasting down the road backwards. So he had to be about a foot shorter than I was. So when he was on the platform, he ended up being about the same height. And he's going backwards. So I'm just watching them film this, and now all he had to walk down the sidewalk, stop, my double stopped behind him, and he had to cry a little bit. Man, he did it on cue. He stopped, teardrop, one single teardrop, boom. They cut, perfect. They said, do it again. And exact same scene. He stopped on his mark, teardrop, other side, boom. On cue, one single teardrop. It's like, whoa. Okay, now I don't know if I can master that.
Yeah,
I mean, that
sounds
was
really
impressive
hard.
to watch. It was really incredible to watch, but I don't know if I can let a single teardrop come down on cue like that. That's pretty talented, I think.
Yes, very.
So, how did you get involved with Hill House there? Was it something your agent told you about that you auditioned for? Or?
Yeah. My agent sent me the audition, and I did it, and I actually completely forgot about it. I did this audition, and months went by, and one thing I did learn after a while, because in the beginning you do an audition and you dwell on it. And in the early days, I used to drive to Miami, and the whole drive home, I'd be thinking to myself, man, should have done that, should not have done that, could have done that better, and you're just reliving that audition over and over in your head. But after so many years, you get used to it, and you stop thinking about it. You just do the audition, forget about it, because it'll drive you nuts to just fret about every little thing you did or didn't do. So I forgot that I did that audition for Haunting of Hill House, and months later, I get a phone call from my agent who said, this is show Hill House something wants to talk to you about a part. I said, okay. I didn't remember what it was about, but I got a phone call then from the stunt coordinator, and Chuck, and he wanted to know if I had any fear of heights or any experience in harnesses. I said, no, I used to work on ships, on the cruise ships. I used to climb to the top of the masts and hang from wires and stuff all the time. Not a problem. He says, great, okay, then you probably got the job. I'll just confirm it with the director, and you'll have this. And I'm like, what job? What are you talking about? But you did give me some ideas. And so I got this job on Haunting of Hill House. And the thing is, I had no idea at that time how big it was going to be. I just drove to Atlanta and started filming. And I mean, I saw it wasn't full on huge production. They did send me the script in advance, so I read through it, and I honestly didn't think it was going to be that great, because the script, you read the script, it was really wordy. There's a lot of words, a lot of talking. I said, nobody's going to watch that. Maybe a few people, but after I was there for a little while, I noticed, okay, there's something different about the show. I mean, especially Mike Flanagan, the director. He was on. He knew what he wanted. He had, and that's not always the case when you work on a show. Sometimes you go to a show and the director does not have maybe a clear idea of what he wants to do. He said, maybe we'll try this. I don't know. What do you guys think? Okay, no, that's not going to work. Let's change it. There's a lot of wasted time there as they try and figure things out. No, Mike Flanagan's not like that. Mike Flanagan was, and even before we start any of the scenes, he'd have a meeting and he said, here's what we're doing. He said, I want the lights there, cameras there. This is the blocking for the actors. This is exactly how it's going to happen. And then he disappeared in his tent, and he was constantly working. He was either writing or editing or planning the next show. He was constantly working, and everybody got ready. He would come out then, and we'd shoot the scene, and it would be 2-3 takes, boom, done. He said, that's what I want. Everybody's good, and off we move to the next scene. It was just so efficient because he knew exactly what he wanted. The picture in his mind was so clear, and so his writing. The cinematography, even the craftsmen, like the people that built the house, to see the set, to see what it looked like in real life was incredible. They put so much effort into the tiniest details, all across the board: costumes, makeup, everything. And when you have so many professionals who have such a clear vision and direction working together, it comes together in a spectacular way, and it did for Hill House. I mean, that really is what made it is how well it was thought out, planned, and executed. It's incredible to see.
I know they had a lot of like hidden ghosts throughout the thing. Did you have? I didn't notice. I did watch it all the way through, and then when I went to refresh, I only watched episodes that said that you were in. But did you happen to be any of the hidden ghosts?
No, I was not any of the hidden ghosts. They had a whole bunch of extras, and they had some cameos. Actors that might use previous shows. He'd bring back. I didn't even know they were there when we were filming. I'd be watching the show, and I'd get to my bit, and then I'd see it. What? I didn't know that was there. I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't think so, but I was like, oh, just maybe. You never know, because there's so you could watch it and then watch it again. It's like, I don't remember that. Or, it'd be something hidden somewhere.
Yeah. There's a couple of times where I was, kind of more like a blur in the background, which kind of tells you about the kind of money they have in these top end productions. They bring me up to Atlanta, and they put me in full makeup, take about 3 hours for the costume and makeup. Makeup by Bob Kurtzman, and I'd be a blur in the background, and I'd take all the makeup off and go all the way back home to Florida. Really, you paid me that much and put that much effort for me to be a blur in the background. But that's it. I mean, that's the detail. I mean, that's how thorough they were. That it was worth their time and money to make sure that every little part was there, even if it was just a blur in the background.
So how many days was shooting for your character that you had to be there?
Oh, I don't know. They shot over something like 10 months. And so I'd go up maybe once or twice a month for 3 or 4 months. So I don't know how many, I don't know if I ever added up how many days I was actually there, but I'm guessing about 6 or 8 or 10 days, something like that. I can't remember. There's a couple of days that you go up in the very beginning before you even shoot, just for costume fittings and stunt rehearsals and things like that. The very first scene we did was that scene where I float down the hallway.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, in terms of stunts, that was the most complex part of getting the whole floating ghost thing to happening. That was all practical effects. Like any time you saw me floating, except for one scene, everything else was actual. I was actually kind of floating. The first time when I'm going down the hallway, I was hanging from cables in a harness, and the trickiest part there was getting that movement right. So I'd cross the hall to the other door. So I'm hanging 10 feet up in the air, and they taped duct tape. I'm really talking duct tape, a bunch of swim noodles to the bottom of my feet, and then had shoes taped to the bottom of that stuck out from under the pants. But they were just styrofoam. And so the issue was, when I coasted to a stop by the other door, the legs would kind of keep on swinging. And it looked ridiculous. It wasn't very scary at all. And so we had to, and I say we, it was really our stunt guys, Chuck Borden and his team, just having to do it over and over again and just practice coming to a nice, smooth stop so the legs wouldn't swing around. We did that over and over again. The hardest part for me, because there really wasn't a whole lot of acting going on. I'm just strapped into a harness and I'm just hanging there.
Mm-hmm.
I can move my head a little bit, and that was about it. Duck under the beam, and but the hardest part for me then was just hanging in this harness. We do it 2 or 3 times, and then the guys would go off to the side and confer to each other, and then kind of figure out what are we going to do next, and they leave me hanging there. And
literally,
yeah, and it was okay for a couple of minutes, but after a while, this harness with all the weight in it gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and start realizing I'm not getting a whole lot of air in my lungs anymore, and somebody let me down, and they would, but with those swim noodles taped to the bottom of my feet, and I had extensions on my hands too. I couldn't sit or do anything, so they lower me all the way down to the floor. A couple of people would hold me and lower me down to the floor. And I'd be just sitting on the floor in a really awkward position. There's a picture of me somewhere sitting there, and I'm kind of hunched over because I couldn't sit up straight. I'd fall over backwards. And I'm just trying to get some air into my lungs before they hoisted me up to do it again.
So, do you think they might do like a prequel with Hill, since your ghost was the original of the house?
I sure hope so.
That would be really interesting to see, because I mean, we sort of get the story of, spoiler alert, people, sorry, but how you were crazy, or your character was crazy and married the wife in the institute, and it would kind of be interesting to see how that all portrayed out, and was there ghosts there prior, or they're the cause of it, and all that. And
so. So originally, the original script had a lot more about the backstory of William Hill, Poppy, and the others. In fact, the audition that I did had some of that backstory in there, and I never got to film that. They ended up cutting so much of that out of the production, and I think my understanding is that it was for reasons. Things were just getting too expensive, and Mike Flanagan was really upset. But they had to cut somewhere, and all those scenes that were prequel to the main story were the first to go. And but man, I got so many fans. As soon as the show came out, people were asking me like, "Oh man, we want to know more. They're going to do a prequel." And I said, "I would love it if they did," and I've hinted to Mike and the producers. I was like, "Let's do a prequel, man. Let's do a prequel." And then when they announced season 2 of Hill House, it was like, maybe. And then it turned out to be Blind Manor. It's like,
yeah. I felt the same way, to be honest.
I mean, Blind Manor was
good, but Hill House is much better.
Yeah, Blind Manor was great. It was fine, but I mean, I wasn't in it.
Right. Yeah, I like Blind Manor, but you get to a point you just want to throw the girl over a cliff. You know who I'm talking about.
I haven't watched that.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Okay.
No.
It was just a very different show. Blind Manor this was very different, and a lot of people love Blind Manor, and rightly so. But it wasn't. It was completely detached from Hill House, and I think a lot of people went in thinking they were going to see something much more like Hill House, and so it didn't happen, and then I think a lot of people were disappointed. So a prequel to Hill House.
I mean, even the original, even if it's the original movie or something, just a little bit, just to explain, or
I think you're right. I think you're right. We need to keep harping on this, and then hopefully somebody will come around and make it happen.
We should start
a petition. This little bit of interview where he hears fans talking about it too. It's like, see, people want to see that.
Exactly.
They do. Oh yeah. People have been vocal about it. So who knows?
Definitely want to see more of it. I mean, they know the whole source material of everything. So
especially with all those other ghosts, it was like he can almost drag almost 2 seasons. Like your story and then Poppy's story, and I don't remember who else was in it, but there's at least more characters that you could go.
Because my character is William Hill, the owner of Hill House, but I didn't buy the house. I had a father, and there's like a slight reference to him in a photograph of my father who originally got the house, so there's more before my character, and then after my character. There's a couple generations before we got to the contemporary setting of the Crane family. So there's so much more, so much material,
right? Especially at the end where you see all the ghosts like come to the door. There's like so much there that you just don't realize it. But you could bring so much more into that. It would be great to see more from that one. I did like Blind Manor, but Hill House was so much better.
Hill House was incredible. That was and I have to say it must have been tough to do Blind Manor because the expectations were so high. I mean, Hill House was the number one show on the planet for a month, and the follow up on something that was so successful and so well done. I mean, the storyline, have talked to people who are literature majors and instructors who use Hill House as an example, a model of how to write stories, all those interwoven plots and the references and nuance and all the stuff that goes into writing a classic novel is there. And it's such a great example of superb story writing. To follow up on something like that, to have lightning strike twice, that's daunting, and it's pretty much impossible.
Yes. That is very true.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll work out. We'll see. We'll petition it.
We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah.
Poke him enough.
Well, hopefully they'll do it soon. They can't wait another 2 or 3 decades because I'll have a hard time getting in that harness.
Right.
Well, hey, if they do the prequel, you can play your own father. You won't have to be in the harness before you.
I'll just be human form, right? Yeah.
You'll just be human. There you go. So
there were other tricks. I was talking about that earlier. So that one way of getting me to float was in a harness. There's another scene where I'm actually standing on stilts, and that was my first time actually standing on stilts ever. And they asked me, said, "Hey, can you walk on stilts?" And I said, "Sure, why not? Let's give it a try." And so they strapped them on my feet and helped me up, and I walked on stilts for the first time. Now in that scene, I only had to walk to my mark on the set, and then I just stood there. That was the one bit of CGI because they took my little image there, and then the CGI people just kind of made it hover slightly a couple of inches off the ground. But I was on stilts that day. And then in the last scene, you see me where I kind of come in behind Stephen Crane, and I come into the room, and then I look at him sideways, come down to him, and they have that little monologue over top of it. On that scene, I was actually standing on a little cart, and I mean, it looks very ominous as I'm coming into the room, floating in behind the two men. Very scary.
And that's where you bend down under the door and keep going, and then
you
bend down and look at that guy in the face.
Bend down and look at Stephen. Yeah. But filming it actually looked completely ridiculous because I'm standing on a cart, and behind me is this guy pushing the cart, trying to stay out of the picture. And we actually had to go over like a little ledge or a door sill or something like that. So I think you can even see it. Like if you look carefully, there's like a little bump as I'm coming into the room where we go over that little ledge. So that's all it was. I'm standing on a cart.
Now I'm gonna have to go back and watch that again just to see.
Did you do any funny takes with that? Like do like a pose since the guy's pushing out a cart, like Jar?
Yeah, I never saw really like an outtake reel from The Haunting of Hill House. I don't know if there was.
I haven't either.
And everybody was such a professional on that set. I mean, when we everything was done in 2 or 3 takes. There weren't a lot of screw ups or funny goof ups. It was just done and moved on. It was not that we didn't have fun. I mean, there was good people and we laughed a lot. But actually, when it came time to film, it got done.
I would see me having a hard time resist if I was on a cart like that, not doing like at least one.
Just one outtake, Okay, I'm sorry, I had to get it out of my system.
Yeah.
Or in your harness act like you're flying. Woo!
Yeah.
Up and away.
In the world.
You'd be like one of Superman's enemies.
Yeah. Lex Luthor. I'd love to play Lex Luthor.
You don't fly though. Well, I guess you could give him powers. I mean, it's a comic. You can do about whatever you want with him.
Yeah, he's a science guy, right? You could do like we call it like Iron Man boots on the feet or something.
Like rocket power or something. There we go.
Yeah, rocket power. There we go.
Or like the Rocket Man, that old movie that he had that jetpack.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, Lex Luthor would be good. I didn't even think about it. I was just thinking about flying. But You did do an episode of Burn Notice. When you was on there, we had Giovanni Rodriguez on here not too long ago. Did you happen to meet him? I know he worked backstage a lot, but I don't know if he was on the episode that you did or not.
I don't remember him. No. Funny story about the Burn Notice episode. So this is still fairly early, and Burn Notice was the big show filming here in Florida, and everybody wanted to get on Burn Notice, and I auditioned over and over again to get on Burn Notice. And the Florida tax incentive had already been eliminated, and so we knew that this was going to be the last season of Burn Notice. And I was like, oh man, it's only a few episodes left. I want to get on this show so badly. Finally, I get a part. The part was lead operative. Number 1 or something. And I get on the show and I meet Jerry Donovan and Gabrielle Noir and Bruce Campbell and Jess Kobe. Guy's name is Kobe. He was the nicest guy of all. He was really nice. I met him again on the Gifted. He remembered me, which was kind of cool. You know, when you're a day player and then years later you meet one of the big actors and they remember you. It's like, oh, that's cool. But anyway, so I was so excited to be on set, and we did the scene. And I remember thinking at the time, I said, this is weird. So it's like at the end of the episode, and I kind of am interrogating Sam and Jesse, and then I walk off, and then Jerry Donovan comes on and does his thing. I remember thinking, this is weird because I'm not anywhere else in this episode. And but okay, I'm happy to do it. So I told my family and my friends, I'm on episode whatever. Be sure to watch it. It's coming on at that time. We don't have cable, so I couldn't watch it. But I was like, let me know if it turned out great. And 9:00 comes and the show is over. I start getting emails and they're like, "We didn't see you." It's like,
okay, it wasn't just me then. I watched that and I was like, where? But I didn't want to see anything just in case.
You didn't see me? What do you mean? And maybe 10 or 15 minutes later, the writer texted me and he said, "I'm sure you found out by now that we had to cut you. We had to cut your characters. We had to get it down. This still, this is not streaming services. It was actual TV, so they had to make it fit in 42 minutes. Beautiful thing about streaming is you can make an episode 35 minutes, you can make it an hour and 20 minutes. It doesn't matter. But when it's on TV, actual original TV, it had to be in exactly that 42-minute time frame. And my guy was cut because, like I thought of the day, I didn't belong anywhere else. I was just this random guy that comes in for a minute and that disappears again. So they cut. Now, if you watch carefully in the scene that I'm in, you can just see the tip of my elbow leaving the frame.
That was like the reason. The only question I had about Burn Notice was if you met Giovanni. Is like I didn't know what else to ask. Because like I didn't see him anywhere.
That's why. No, I did get credit for it. I mean, if you look at the end credits, my name is there. I'm still getting residual checks for it. I mean, it's like $1.15 every 6 months or something. But and I can put it on my resume because I did the work. I was there. I did the work. That gained me experience on working on sets. And in my early days, I needed every credit I can get on my resume, and so it counts. It counts.
You're elbow famous.
Elbow.
If you
it's still hard to see though because I was wearing black. And it was against a dark background, so you really have to look hard to see my elbow.
Like, where's Waldo? Where's Elbow?
Yeah, that was a great experience. I mean, that was my first time on a really big set and chance to see how things are done on a proper production. Before that, the biggest set I had done was a Winn-Dixie commercial. I got cast as an alien in a Winn-Dixie commercial. And I was excited about that until I found out that they wanted to put a giant latex head on me, and that's what it was. It was like it covered my whole head, and it came up. The eyes were up on my top of my head somewhere, so you can't recognize me on that anyway either. In fact, most of what I've done, I've been in prosthetics and makeup, huge amount of prosthetics, and it's not very often that you actually get to see me.
Right. Yeah. You mentioned The Gifted. That was, well, I was actually going to bring up that one too. The membrane. You had a lot of, it was like almost a full costume that was all like latex, or was any of that? Well, I'm sure some of it was makeup, but.
Yeah, there's some of me. There's some of me there. Now that was a tough makeup job. That was, I believe, if I remember correctly, 9 hours of makeup.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't supposed to be. What happened was the guys, they had planned, Mark Neiman, and I've worked with him about 3 times. He's a fantastic makeup artist. He and his team had designed the costume and had it, had done sketches and paintings of it, and shown it to the producers, and the producers okayed it, and so they went and applied the makeup, and it was a silicone hood, came all the way around and over my face, and then they kind of filled in around the eyes and the ears and stuff, and kind of made it mesh. So it wasn't that bad at first, maybe 2 or 3 hours, which is pretty normal. But then the producers came by to approve it, and they looked at it and they said, "We can't really see a face. This is just all green and gelatinous. We don't really see a human in there." Said, make him more human. Cut some of that out. And the makeup guys were like, "Yeah, okay, all right, yeah, no problem." And as soon as the producer left, they were like, and they started kicking chairs and like, "Yeah, disapproved. Now they're gonna make us mess it up." And so they're like, "How are we gonna do this?" So they actually had to start cutting away with tiny little scissors, cutting away some of the hood and the mask and stuff, and gluing it. And what they were worried about is if they cut away too much, the whole thing might fall apart. And then they had to recolor it, and it was originally kind of greenish, yellowish, and then they had to keep touching it up, and layering it, and it became more like poop brown, and that wasn't good either. So they had to kind of not wash it down, but kind of put like a base on it, and then start the paint job all over again. And then the producer came in and said, "No, more human." Like, and they started again, more cutting, and by the time the producers were happy with it, it was like a good 9 hours, and that was hard. And what the worst part of it was the neck piece came down around my neck, and then every time I swallowed, my arms would rub against the silicone, and got really raw, and I couldn't hear much either because it was covering my ears, and I couldn't really eat very well with that one. Sometimes the makeup isn't so bad. I can eat pretty well, but that one I was really having a hard time hearing, seeing, swallowing. It was super uncomfortable. So we started, I think, at 3 or 4 in the morning, and by the time we started shooting, it was close to 5 or 6 at night. I don't think we finished until about 2 or 3 in the morning. So it was like nearly 20, I think roughly 21 hours. And that was probably the most uncomfortable I've ever been in costume. But that's what we're getting paid for is to suffer through. And I mean, it wasn't intolerable. I was able to do it, but that was a long day.
Yeah. Did you have to come back and get it all put back on again, or did they get all your shots done in that one shot?
We got it all done in one day, so that was good. And so in that scene, in that episode, we have this fight scene, and I gotta say that was scary because they have 2 warring factions, and the one crew came through the wall. It was like this huge explosion, and dust and debris came flying. They had this air cannon that would blow rocks, great big styrofoam rocks through, but it was still loud. It was still a lot of dust. And then the warriors came through, and they had machine guns, and they were shooting blanks, but you saw the flares, and then on the ground they had the stunt guys shooting little like 4th of July poppers, air pistols, and they would shoot them around us. So you see like the sparks hitting the wall and the things around us, and that stuff was flying through the air. And so it's all very safe. They had a very professional armor, and they had all the safety talks. They really took that safety seriously. But when we were filming, it felt very, very real. And fortunately, my character Membrane, his job was to hide behind the barrel, and I was quite happy to do that. I just stayed behind my barrel, and then he gets shot. Then he at some point he comes out from behind the barrel and he gets shot. And I'm thinking, Membrane, he's made out of gel. I mean, he could spit the bullets out and be back for the next episode. So I was hounding the writers and the producers, like, surely Membrane can come back for the next episode, and they all kind of turned away and left me. They just completely ignored me on that one. What I didn't know was that was the last ever episode. They canceled the show, and so that's why there was no point in trying to bring me back. That there was nothing to come back to.
Was you into comics at all before being on that show?
Not really. I mean, I had comics as a kid, but I've never been a real big collector of comic books or anything. My brother was the one who collected a lot of comics. But yeah, when you get cast in a part like that in this Marvel, you look it up. So I looked up Membrane, and Membrane was in the comic books. I can't remember when or where. It was. Let's have my computer monitor on there to give me some backlight, and. So I looked up Membrane, and he was in like 2 or 3 comics years and years ago, and then he disappeared again. So it was not a character that really took off. So the Marvel TV show, any ideas or characters that they were able to find had to be, my understanding was, it had to be run past the Marvel film franchise first. Any of the really good ideas or any of the really good characters were used by the film. So the TV show was like the leftover ideas, the leftover characters. So Membrane was one of those leftover characters that came back from the deep dark past, made it for an episode and got killed off again. So,
I don't want to.
It's kind of cool. Sorry?
When I was playing it, I asked, because my husband was into comics. I was like, "What's this guy even in the comics?" Because I didn't know comics, so I asked him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, he was in comics." I was like, "Well, that's cool. He was at least playing a character that was actually in the comics."
Oh yeah. So that's the cool part is I'm not complaining at all. I'm in the Marvel universe. Not too many people.
Yes, that is true.
I'm in the Marvel universe. Yeah. Well, that was fun.
Giovanni, you said you didn't know him, but he ended up being in both DC and Marvel.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's cool.
Excuse me.
Yeah, so now if I ever audition for Marvel again, there's always a thing that asks, "Have you been in a Marvel movie before?" Because they cannot use it twice. I said, "Well, yeah, I have, but
yeah,
I mean, you can't tell it's me." So they let me keep auditioning, and then hopefully something will come along. Because I would love to be part of that in a bigger way.
Yeah. We could always switch sides and go to DC too.
Yeah. I'd be all right with that. I'll whatever they want to pay me for, I'll do it.
Whatever.
Right.
You did Jersey Massacre. You were in a movie within a movie on that one. Yeah. Cupcakes the Clown. And
Cupcake the Killer Clown.
Yep, and you had a scene with a fellow YouTuber, also Cool Duder, Sean C. Phillips.
Yeah.
So how'd you get involved in that one? Again, through agent or someone you knew was involved with that?
I don't remember. I'm assuming it was through my agent, but I don't really remember. I know. I remember. I remember auditioning because I'm with a chainsaw, so I actually took my camera. So that was a self tape, and they had me make a video tape. So I remember taking my chainsaw to the backyard, and I found a red nose, and I took the chainsaw. Just go with the chainsaw. I didn't have the chainsaw running, but just and I sent that in, and they're like, "Okay, good enough," and they brought me in. And I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was so much fun. So Cupcake the Killer Clown, luring the kids out of the fat camp with cupcakes. Yeah, and then they came out, and then the one boy came out, and he finds a cupcake, and I start up my chainsaw, and he's holding the cupcake in his hand, and then he sees me with the chainsaw. He looks at his cupcake. Looks at me with the chainsaw. I'm running at him. Cupcake, chainsaw. Eats the cupcake. I chop him up with the chainsaw.
When I was first watching it, I didn't realize it was the movie, and there was like a mime in it. I was like, no, wait, that can't be. I was looking at him, I'm like, no, that's not his build. That's not him. And so then I was watching and saw the Fat Camp Massacre. Like, yo, this is supposed to be the best movie ever. Those guys in it, oh my gosh, they were so annoying.
That movie got, I think it got translated to like 40 different languages, and it's been shown around the world. There's it's astounding to me. It's astounding to me that this horror genre, and especially the kind of like the comedy horror genre, is incredibly popular all around the world.
That's my favorite genre.
Yeah, it's so much fun, and ridiculously popular. I think Nigeria is huge. They have their own thriving film industry there, doing that kind of thing too. And so all this was all new to me. I said, really? People watch this? Because I'm not one. I don't really watch a lot of horror. At the end of a long day, my wife and I, we like to sit down and watch comedy. We love to laugh and just turn our brains off and not get stressed out. But horror films are tremendously fun to make. To get dressed up in crazy costumes and to get blood splattered and running around chasing people with chainsaws. That's so much fun. How can you not enjoy that?
Yeah, we've always heard that it's fun on those sets.
Yeah. This is like we're grown-ups playing dress up, and playing these silly games. It's really not something you would normally do, but filmmaking gives you an excuse to be silly and do different things and travel and experience things and meet people that you wouldn't otherwise meet. That's just part of it. I mean, filming itself, a lot of people think it's glamorous and it's the Hollywood set, but you usually, as I was saying before, uncomfortable, cold, wet. I made an independent film here in South Florida called Sanctuary. And I think it was 3 or 4 months of filming, and the whole storyline took place from sunset to sunrise, and in the beginning of the night, my character falls into the harbor and gets soaking wet, and then a little bit later in the story, he falls into a fountain, so he's wet the whole time. So every time it was time for me to film my scene, they would have to spritz me down. That get me wet, and it was towards later on in the shoot, the nights were getting really, really cold, so I was constantly wet, constantly cold, filming this over and over and over again, and an uncomfortable makeup, and we're filming all night long. Everybody else was taking naps, but I was covered in blood, so I couldn't put my head down anywhere, and I couldn't take a nap. I was exhausted and wet and cold. And a couple of years later, we had to get back together to film some inserts and retakes. And I was like, okay, alrighty, spritz me down. I'm like, no, we don't have to do that anymore. When we were editing, we discovered all we have to do is darken the color of your shirt a little bit and post there. And so we don't need to go. Are you serious? For months. I've been cold and wet, and it was completely unnecessary. You're telling me now
that they could Wow.
That would make me so mad.
Yeah. They were such nice people. I couldn't be mad for very long.
Right. I'd probably have the same reaction.
I'd be like, what?
Yeah, and I was wet, and there was a couple of scenes where I had to run through hallways, and I was wet, and so I'm slipping and sliding all over the place. We had a lot of outtakes. Just constantly falling down, sliding, and there's one scene where I had to run in, and the girl was reaching in to save her boyfriend who drowning in the bathtub, but I had to stop her from saving him for some reason. And I'm sliding in, and I kept going. I totally knocked the feet out from under her, and she landed bam on top of me. He was fine. I was hurt.
You broke her fall.
I broke her fall. Yeah. Not seriously. I was fine. I got up and did it again.
Some funny outtakes. Let's go ahead. Sticking with horror and everything, you also had a role in Dr. Sleep, the sequel to The Shining. So were you a fan of The Shining prior to the sequel? And
oh yeah, I love The Shining.
Overlook Hotel.
It's probably the scariest thing I'd ever watched. And like I said, I never watched a lot of horror. In fact, when I was a kid, my family put on the old Star Trek with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, and I couldn't even watch that. I mean, when they came in with the aliens with the giant spears, I had to leave the room. So that I watched The Shining, I was pretty proud of myself for actually watching the whole thing and even enjoying it. And of course, it was so memorable. The scenes, the snow, the hedges, the carpet, the tricycle, all those little iconic moments and scenes and images that stick for some reason with The Shining. That was a film where those images stick. And so that was also Mike Flanagan. And as we were talking about earlier, he likes to take actors that he's used in other shows and bring them in for little cameo roles. So he got a call from him to come and visit for Dr. Sleep and be part of that. I was absolutely thrilled. So I rewatched The Shining, saw it again, and a couple of days later went to Atlanta and walked onto set that they had recreated from the original Stanley Kubrick blueprints. They had found the old blueprints, so they had rebuilt the Overlook Hotel to the inch, and studied all the old footage. They recreated the stained glass windows, the books on the shelves, the pictures on the wall, the fireplace, the typewriter. They had made an exact replica of the original Overlook Hotel. So after having just watched the film and then walking onto that set, that I got goosebumps. I mean,
I can imagine.
That was so surreal. The typewriter was there. The chair was knocked over. All the pages were scattered where all play, what is it, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, typed all over it. It's like just like in the movie. That was incredible. So that was the best part about it. I got to walk around the set, and they had an adult-sized tricycle upstairs, sitting by the elevator, and Mike Flanagan was like, "Go ahead, take the ride." So we all, myself and some of the other ghosts, we all took turns riding the tricycle through the hallways of the Overlook Hotel. And what really struck me was, and from the original film, you'll remember when the boy Danny was cycling through, the sound. I mean, there was no music. There was just the sound of the tricycle hitting the hardwood floor, the carpet, the hardwood floor, the carpet. And it was just like that. And that was spectacular to hear that. And there was a camera guy following me through the hallway. So somewhere there's some footage of me riding this tricycle through the hallways of the Overlook Hotel with a great big grin on my face.
What it reminds me of, like, if they ever made like an amusement park for adults that was like a horror version, it sounds like something perfect to put in there as like you get to ride the little tricycle through
from The Shining. There you go.
Yeah, they should have done that. Halloween Horror Nights, Dr. Sleep, Halloween Horror Nights, and just for part of it, instead of just walking the whole thing, there's like
right, that's
tricycles. There's a stretch where you do it by tricycle.
Yeah, you got to.
that would be an interesting little part of Halloween Horror Nights. Then you experience everything on the tricycle while you ride through the Overlook.
Yeah. That would be different. I mean, so many of the horror night, the haunted houses are starts. If you do 8 or 10 or 12 in a row, they start seeming a little bit alike. But if you had one where you rode through it on the tricycle, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah. It sounds amazing. I got PTSD, so I can't handle people jumping out at me, so I can't do haunted houses.
Yeah.
But if they didn't have, like, because nobody jumps out at you when the kid, well, not really, sort of, but when they ride the bikes, I could probably do that. I would be totally.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, that was fun to get to do Halloween Horror Nights this year when they had the Haunting of Hill House, haunted house. And I was invited to go and visit with Bob Kurtzman and his wife Marcy, and we got to experience, and I got to meet one of the guys that played my character in the haunted house, and that was fun. It was fun, and I admire those guys because I mean I was on set. I only had to do it for a day, a couple of days. They were doing it every day, all day.
For the month, yeah.
A month, yeah, for the whole month, and so that's some stamina there. Nice guys, and I gotta admit, I have to admit, okay, so we went backstage and we met one of the actors, we met the makeup crew and the production people back there, and then we all went through the actual Haunting of Hill House haunted house. And that was okay. And I did all right. I wasn't too scared. But right at the very end, when I saw the open door leading to the daylight, and I turned the corner thinking, I'm done. The tall man got out and scared the crap out of me. It's like, no, man. It's like being scared by yourself.
I was gonna say, you scared yourself.
I scared myself.
That's funny. While you were there, did anyone like recognize you as Mr. Hill there, or were you distracted by the tour itself?
I don't know that anybody would have recognized me because again, I'm always in prosthetics, so it's not very often I get recognized on the street, which is it's kind of nice. But they knew I was coming. They knew I was coming, and so it's kind of fun because people came up and said hello and said nice things about the show and stuff like that. So that was fun. I got my little celebrity moment there in public.
Right.
Yeah. But we were talking about Dr. Sleep and that experience, and so I told you about how being on that set was surreal. But I want to tell you the actual filming was kind of funny too because I'm only in there for a few brief seconds, and it's right at the end, and there's a scene where. Don't want to give too much away, but Rebecca Ferguson and Ewan McGregor are both there, and we have a scene, and there's a bunch of ghosts, and we're trying to arrange ourselves, and I'm seeing the camera. I said, okay, I'm only in this for a few seconds. I want to make sure they see me, so I'm getting towards the front, close to the camera, and thinking, okay, this is a good spot for me. Mike Flanagan says, no, Fedor, you're too tall. Move to the back. It's like, oh. They put the cute little girls in the front, the twins. They put them in the front. So come on. So we do the scene.
Forever and forever.
Yeah. What have they got that I don't have? And so we do the scene, and that was with Rebecca Ferguson. But then the storyline is that we turn around, and then we see Ewan McGregor behind us. So as I'm turning, I'm realizing, now I'm at the front. Yes. Now I'll get my shot, my face right front and center in front of the camera. And then Mike says, Fedor, move to the back. Like, Mike, how is that possible? I was at the back, and now I'm turning around. I have to be at the front. Physically, it wouldn't be possible. And he said, no, move to the back. It'll be creepier that way. So if you watch it now, you'll see that you'll see all the ghosts as they turn. They magically rearrange themselves again.
I didn't even pick up on that. I just rewatched it the other day, and I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah, and I just watched it earlier today. So just to see the ghosts. Yeah.
So the girls got to be front and center
around,
again.
You're like, wait, I should be in the front. If we turn around.
Yeah. So it's okay. Those girls were awesome. Their mom was there, and they're awfully adorable and sweet, and they deserve their time. So, more than most of us. So no, it's great. Because the twins are iconic to the whole Shining experience. So they had to be there. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's all good. Yeah. The girls were. It was funny. They had KK and Sadie Himes, and we had a couple people on set their names were also KK and Sadie, which is they're not common names. So it's kind of fun. We had two KKs, KK, Sadie, and Sadie. There's a picture somewhere of the forum together.
Yeah, to have all those names, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is strange having uncommon. I'd say uncommon. Having them all together.
Yeah. The other experience, one of the other things that was really kind of stood out for me with the Haunting of Hill House was the not Haunting of Hill House, Dr. Sleep, was the same stunt coordinator, Chuck Borden, and from Haunting of Hill House. And so while I was waiting for my turn to shoot, they had a scene where this is where Ewan McGregor's character gets chopped by the axe at the top of the stairs, and he gets flung down the stairs. Of course, they have a stunt guy doing the actual leap through the air down the stairs. And I was watching this happen, and that guy, this is like a little launch pad they have. I forget what they call it, and it actually there's a spring-loaded catapult that actually launches him through the air. And he misses. He clears like 3/4 of the stairs and hits like near the bottom of the steps, and rolls into the gate at the bottom, the rail at the bottom. And I asked Chuck, I said, dude, what goes on in your mind when you're flying through the air like that as a stuntman? And he said, in that moment, you're thinking, what the? He said, does it hurt? He says, it hurts like hell. He said, there's no way around it. You're going to land and it's going to be hurt. It's going to be a lot of pain. And then you get up and you do it again. That's what those stunt guys do. They know that it's going to hurt, and they do it anyway, and they do it over and over again. And hats off to them. That is really quite something that they can do it and do it so convincingly and over and over again. Because some of those stunts in that movie were spectacular. There's the other scene where Rose the Hat comes flying and gets knocked back onto the trailer, and and then she goes flying off the top of the trailer and hits the ground. Casey, the stunt woman who did that, she actually hit the ground that hard from the top of the trailer. They pulled her off with a rope, and she just flew off the trailer and landed on the ground. I mean, that actually happened. There was no faking that, and it looked painful.
Yes.
It was something.
Yeah, I figured she had some sort of cushion or something, but wow.
Yeah, they might have had a mat or something under the leaves.
Yeah, true.
I don't know, but I mean, it's still, when you land flat like that.
Yeah, the mat's not going to help that much.
It's not going to help that much. It's going to hurt, no matter which way you look at it. Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
All those stunt people are amazing what they do, and so they don't get enough credit for it either. I mean, they're
all amazing. The sound guys, the cinematographers, the script writers, the supervisors, every single makeup artists, costumers, every single one of them are incredible at what they do. It's really quite something. Yeah.
And speaking back into makeup, you was in a episode of Sleepy Hollow. You got to play the djinn. And you got, how long did it take to get all that makeup put on you? It wasn't a lot. I think it was just mainly cloth, but
yeah, no, there was quite a bit of makeup on that one. They built up my eyebrows, and they put ears on me, and
I forgot about that.
My brow. That was the same guy who did the makeup for The Gifted, Mark Neiman, and I saw him again in a new production I'm in. Now we're in the middle of filming now, and so I've worked with him 3 times now, and he's very, very good. That was about 3 hours. It was 3 hours. I love that costume though. I mean,
yes,
it was like kind of like a leather armor vest, and it had wrist braces and things around my biceps. I felt big and tough. I mean, I really felt masculine. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool looking djinn. I liked it.
It was a very cool looking djinn. And then when we filmed it, they actually had me flying through the air and descending, landing on the floor, and then going into the thing. They cut that part out. I think it's another one of those things where it's like a great idea to have things flying through the air, but it's really, really hard to make it look plausible or real. Too often it just looks like a guy swinging in on a wire, and so they ended up putting that little bit out. But the rest of it was cool. I love having my head on fire and throwing balls of flame at people, and I was getting shot at by Virginia Gavankar. That was a treat.
I can
I don't know if you
imagine.
know who she is, but she's incredibly beautiful and talented, and to be shot by her is a privilege. I took a picture. I had my camera, I had my phone in my pocket, so there's a picture. I have a picture of me, my perspective, my point of view of her pointing a gun at me. It's kind of cool. I treasure that one.
God.
You said you was working on something. Now, are you able to talk anything about? Probably not a lot, but
Nope. Can't tell you anything about it at all. Now they have us sign those NDAs, and I would love
I imagine.
to tell you all about it right now. But I can tell you it's. I was alluding to it in our little promotional clip that we did earlier. Is that you will know this character. You will know it, and it's iconic, and can't wait for it to come out so I can tell you all the stories about filming that and what goes on. I think it'll be something that you'll all see. You won't be able to avoid it. It's going to be out there.
Sounds good. We'll have to have you back then and tell us all about it.
Absolutely.
Once we can hear about it. So yeah. Anything you can talk about, or no? There's.
Let's see. Nope.
No, just that you're working, and stay tuned.
I'm working. Yep, I'm working. It's a lot of fun. It's right up my alley. It's something that I enjoy doing, and again, working with some incredible people. Working with people and then even some people that I've worked with before. So it's always a treat to go back on set, and it is, especially in the beginning of your career when you first walk onto a set and you don't know anybody and they're just there for a couple of days or even just an afternoon, and it's kind of intimidating because there's nobody there. But I've been doing it for a while now, and so it's kind of fun when I go to a set. There's very often somebody in the crew or another actor or makeup or wardrobe, wherever that I have worked with before. And then it's fun. It's hugs all around. It's all blast.
At least we know it's at least we know it's not going to be another part of the Haunting at Hill House. At least we got that established.
No,
unfortunately, but at least we got that.
Is it? You can tell us. Come on. We can
it's not that.
It's a prequel. No. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe
you get to know. You work with these people, and you work with them a long time, and you become very close in a very short period of time. I've made so many friends.
Yeah, because you're around them for like hours per day, depending on how many days you are on set. You're around these people constantly.
Yeah, you make lifelong friends, and that's wonderful. So yeah, I'll keep doing that. My very first horror con was just a few weeks ago, and that was a blast too. I get to meet all the people like the fans in person that are really true fans and know you and know your work and have interesting questions, because they understand and they know it so well. That was a lot of fun, and I hope to do a lot more of those horror conventions in the very near future. So
nice! I didn't
keep
know.
Watching. Yeah, follow me on Instagram if you.
Yeah, I'll have to look you up when we're done here.
Yeah,
I'll be announcing where and when I'll be in releases of productions.
Maybe coming back to Spooky Empire again, or.
I hope so. Yeah. So. That was a blast.
Always fun. Yeah, Spooky's always great. So
good.
Any other fun or interesting facts about yourself or hobbies or something we might not know about you?
Oh, that I can tell people about?
Yeah.
Well, now.
I know that everything goes on this show, but
Yeah. Maybe when my wife retires from her job, so I could start telling people stuff. I don't want to get her fired. So, you're married to that guy?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Do you play like video games or do like build model airplanes
or travel?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can tell you a little bit. I play Fortnite.
Oh, there you go.
I know it's kind of peaked and dropped again. I mean, it's super popular, and I'm a little bit behind the wave there. But my son got me into Fortnite, and then as soon as I was starting to get into that, he stopped playing Fortnite and started playing something else. And I was like, oh, come on. I started playing so we could play together. And, we moved on. But I kind of got hooked, and so I do play Fortnite. My daughter is now playing Fortnite, so the two of us will play together. I'm into sports. I try to stay fit. I play beach volleyball a couple times a week. I cycle. I go to the gym regularly. That kind of keeps me busy. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And then the normal thing.
I used my husband. So I played Fortnite once. I used my husband character because I was curious. I was like, he just got me a PlayStation like a couple years ago, and I'm not big into games. It's like, I'll try this, and yeah, I didn't do very good. They kept killing me, but I did end up getting into GTA. I do play GTA and Red Dead Redemption quite a bit.
Yeah. My son plays GTA, and I don't know if I'm okay with that. Oh my God.
Well, it depends on his age and how well you trust him, but yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
That stuff is scary, man.
I met a group of people online, and we do the businesses and grind doing that, and yeah, so I've been playing with that crew for a while, but yeah, it gets pretty rowdy sometimes.
Yeah. No, it is fun. Video games are fun. That's a nice way to turn off the brain for a little bit. And then my wife and I like to, I'll play some Fortnite with my daughter, and then my wife and I will watch the comedy. Right now, we've been watching Arrested Development. We haven't had a chance to watch that yet, and that's years old, but finally getting around to watching that and having a blast with that. So, something light on the brain at the end of the day. Yeah.
Some good shows, yeah. I still haven't gotten into that. I heard it's a great show. I need to go watch that myself. I got to finish. I don't know. You ever watch Parks and Rec? That's
no, not yet. No.
That's a fun one. Yeah.
Yeah, so. I'm thinking that might be next on the list. I was thinking about that the other day.
So, yeah.
And if you like the comic book stuff, the Peacemaker with John Cena.
Oh my God, that was actually pretty funny.
That was freaking hilarious.
Okay.
We're actually one episode behind, but yeah, we've been watching that, and it's funny. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it is. I was kind of a little hesitant about it because of the character. I don't know if you've seen the new Suicide Squad, but because he's in that, and they take his character from that made TV series, but I was a little hesitant about it, but it's actually really funny.
The eagle named Eagle. That was great when how he's like, "This is fucking amazing. Take a picture." And then the eagle was hugging him. It's so funny. And then he's like telling people that hugged him. Like, nobody believes him. He's like, "Eagle's hugging me," and his eagle's name is Eagle.
The best kind of shows are the ones that don't really take themselves too seriously when they can, laugh a little bit. That's
boy. Well, I guess anything else? I think you tell us. Just keep an eye out for Instagram. Follow you on Instagram.
Follow me on Instagram. It's just Fedor Steer, FEDOR, and I love to. I respond to questions when people have a question or they want to post. I'm happy to answer. So eager to meet people and then hope to see everybody out at the next horror convention. And it was great talking to you guys. I really had fun here.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. So learn some interesting behind the scenes stories there. So thanks for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to doing it again sometime.
Yes. So once whatever comes out, you can tell us for sure. Definitely want to hear about it.
I will. Okay. Well, have a good night, guys.
You too.
Great talking to you.
Yeah, I'm glad he's able to come on.
Absolutely.
Yep. Glad to
All right, take care.
All right, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Oh, 1 second. Oh, I guess he already left. We just got a question right when he left. Someone goes, "What?"
I'm still here. I'm still here. What's up?
Oh, you're still there? Well, we actually got a question right when that guy says, "What's a dream horror movie remake you want to be a part of?"
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. What's the question?
What's a dream horror movie remake you would want to be a part of?
A dream horror remake that I would love to be a part of. Man,
I would say just dream horror. I don't know why remake
or horror. I guess.
Yeah, dream horror. Well, definitely would love to do the the prequel to Haunting of Hill House. That's for sure. But
yes.
I would really love to do something with Michael Berryman. That I got to meet the guy, and he's such an iconic horror actor. I would love to do anything that he's in, like a real proper horror movie. We did the Mad Hatter, and that was I love that, but we only got to spend like maybe a day or two together, like do a full production, the two of us.
Yeah.
Whoever else wants to join in, that doesn't just have to be the two of us. That might be a little weird, but something proper, full on two of us in a film. That would be
maybe a father-son killer duo. There you go.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
There you go. Yeah, that's a script idea right there.
Yeah.
That guy, was like, "Woohoo! I made it in time." Laugh out loud.
Just barely. You got it right in the
right in the last few seconds.
Okay, now I really do have to go.
Okay.
All right.
Talk to you guys later.
All right. Bye.
How do I get out of here? Okay.
The Leave Studio at the bottom.
I found it. Okay.
Bye.
I don't think that's ever happened, right? When someone was getting out the question, like right at the last second there,
and they just happened to hear it because they didn't get to see the Leave.
Because he didn't hit Leave Studio.
Got it. That was probably the most under the wire thing I've ever seen.
Exactly.
You looked up that guy,
That guy, yeah.
I love that name too. That guy,
Do we? It's that one guy.
Do I know you?
I don't know. Wow, that was crazy. That'll never happen again. That was like a show moment there. But yeah.
Oh, by the way, we've hit the requirement of listeners to start putting ads on Spotify. I haven't got the email with the details on it yet, but I'll be able to start putting ads on there pretty soon.
All right. Finally got the...
We're getting there.
More. So, yeah, I found out, I forgot about it, but I heard again in March is Women of Horror Month, of course. So I was going to see what we can do about maybe getting all female actors, writers, directors, whatever. So that's going to be... That'll be the goal for March. Not saying every single one will be, but I mean, that'd be, like a little plus, a little theme going on there for March, maybe. So we'll see what we can pull off there. So, and then next week, hopefully I'll say his last name right, Justin Shinkaro. Hopefully that's right. Who was on Erie, Indiana. He played Simon, and he's done a whole bunch of voices. Life with Louie. Speaking of Louie Anderson passed away this week. Believe that.
Yeah, and Meatloaf too. Same day. It's like, wow.
Day after, I guess it happened.
Oh, was it day after? I thought it was same day.
Or it might have been same day, or maybe they had the news.
Close enough.
They might have had the news the same day, but I think he might have died like the day before, and then he died. I don't know, but either way.
It was close enough together. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I heard one, and then I heard the other. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I know. And then Bob Saget just the week before, I think it was a week, may have been longer. I was like, Jesus.
It's like, what a beginning of the year. I mean, like, well, they come in, Bob Saget, Meatloaf, and
then there was some other dude. I hate to call him dude because I don't remember his name, but he was a German actor. I think he was in Hannibal. Or Rise of Hannibal or something. I don't remember his name, but he was in something.
Oh, in the Hannibal Rising or whatever?
I think so. Is that what the TV series was called?
No, the show was just, I think the show was just Hannibal.
Let's see if I can find it.
Because the movie was called Hannibal Rising. There was like one called Rising or something like that. It was like one of the sequels or prequels, whatever.
Yeah, I'm looking at my Facebook now because I'm pretty sure I shared it. Oh, have you seen that they're making like a parody TV series of the Tiger King with SNL people? At least one of them, from the girl Ghostbusters, the crazy one, like the only good character out of the whole girl Ghostbusters.
Right.
She plays Carol Baskin, and I don't know who the dude is, but that looks hilarious. I've never seen the TV show
I haven't watched it
Tiger
either.
King, but that picture alone looks hilarious. I can only imagine. But I'm looking for dude's name right now. I'm on my Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I don't know who he is. I feel bad, but at least I thought I shared it.
But yeah, I was saying besides Life with Louie, Carmen Sandiego, Hey Arnold, he did a voice. He was the bully on there, Gerald. So I mean, he's done a lot of voices and shows. So should be fun to hear those different stories.
Yeah, apparently I didn't share it. I thought I did. So, and I can't remember dude's name, but I know he was on some sort of Hannibal. I think it was a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what else it said he was in, but he had a skiing accident. It said he was, I think, a German actor. He was only like 37, but for the life of me, I can't remember his name.
Oh, he's in the new TV series with.
Oh yeah, he's in that new. Was it Marvel?
Yeah, it's a Marvel.
The Moon Knight. He played
Oscar Isaac.
Midnight Mass. I think if I remember correctly. Because I was telling him about it.
It's called. You said Moon Knight.
Yeah, it's called Moon Knight, but he played Midnight Mass, I believe.
Yeah, because Oscar Isaac's character is the main.
Well, that hasn't aired yet. I thought, is it?
No, but one of the guys in it just passed away like this week.
Because I was going to say that's coming on Disney Plus soon.
Yeah. So when you see it, the guy who plays Midnight Mass, he had a tragic skiing accident.
But they'll probably say like in memory of whatever.
Probably.
I'm sure they usually do that.
Yeah, for a life of me, I can't remember what his name was, but I feel bad. Just I'm not familiar with his work, but yeah, he was so young. He could, been in so much more. Man, I think he said he was 37, but yeah, I couldn't believe Louie Anderson and Meatloaf like within days.
Right,
Mostly within days.
Within a day, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him. I showed the picture of us from MegaCon in 2017. That was cool. So I'm glad I got to meet him. I mean, but this is crazy. Right after each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, who's next?
Yeah, they usually go in threes, but we've had more than three now.
Well, they'll probably. Well, those are probably.
Well, not really. Betty White was last year, and was
Betty
right
White was at the end of the year. Yeah, it was the end of the year.
Yeah, she was right on New Year's, and then I forget how long after that. Bob Saget, but it's Bob Saget, Louie Anderson, and Meatloaf.
Meatloaf died of COVID.
We're not talking about that. And sorry, and then the other dude's name, so that's technically four.
Well, I mean, if you want to take, I mean, not to discredit him in any way, but the big three, I mean, those are the more well-known.
Yeah. So. Yeah, the other guy was probably just starting out, I assume. I don't know. I haven't looked at his IMDb. Right, he could have been more famous than I know.
But either way, whether he was famous or not, it's tragic. When
exactly.
Young. What a fun time. But anyway, not much else going on. And then, of course, next week's show, though, it'll be at 9:00 instead of 7 because he wanted to do a later show. So I was like, all right, that's fine. Because because I guess it'll be like 6 o'clock his time. So
I don't remember if I put that in my notes. I better, or I'll forget.
yeah, 9 o'clock next week. So
And that's the Justin, right?
yep.
Okay.
And I think after that is Dennis will be the first one. Because yeah, it's almost February already. So yeah.
And that's 9 p.m. your time, right?
Yeah, Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, so I guess it'll be 8 your time. So it's going to be 6, 8, and 9 o'clock for the time zones. So
that's what I was typing my notes. I had to find out that way. I didn't make sure you wasn't like adjusting already for my time.
No. Of course, we got Jenna coming on from Terrifier on the 19th, I think it is. I'll have to double check, but I'll have it posted again, of course. And that's going to be that'll be an afternoon show. So
yeah, 19th at 3 p.m. your time Eastern, 2 p.m. my time.
Yeah. Of course, we'll have more reminders and posts.
Oh yeah.
So, but if you're watching and want an idea who's coming on, that's who we got so far. So, and then we'll see who else we get in between. So, always
that's the only ones I have notes on right now.
So yeah, so you can always join the Facebook group and where we have the guest announcements, and you'll know who's coming on. Or if you like to just be surprised, just show up. Who's the guest? Who's the guest? Oh, yay!
Oh, it's just them. Damn it!
Oh.
Because you never know.
Hey, never know who you're gonna get. Like
oh, damn it.
I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna eat the rest of my food. So I guess that's
we just get frozen pizzas for tonight. I don't know if they're done making theirs or not. So
I got a pizza
time
from
to make mine
night.
or not.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I got a pizza last night. It's like, well, working at Pizza Hut, I'm probably going to get a lot of pizza. Well, just like when I was at the movie theater, I loved eating popcorn, but after a while, I was sick of it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll enjoy it for now. So whenever I want to cut back, I'll cut back.
Right. I know. I worked 10 years in pizza. It's like, but I can still eat it because each pizza place is a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And even frozen pizzas, like each one has like its own little taste. So you get kind of sick of one type, but you could still eat. Usually, it depends. Yeah. But, because I worked at KFC for years too, and at longest time, I couldn't eat fried chicken. I couldn't, because I was so poor back then. It was like right out of high school, or close enough right out of high school, like a year or two. So I was like so poor that we literally lived off KFC for God knows how long. I don't really remember. It's just like, oh my God, I never want to see fried chicken again in my life. But I started being able to eat that again. Not very much, but
yeah. So what about the chicken now? What was that?
This getting sick of it, being around certain foods.
No, I mean our last the Gatorade, and chicken. We're like, what's the chicken got to do with it?
I get it now. It took me a minute. I remember I'm slow.
I had to remind you. I know.
Yeah, I'm a little slow.
Righty then. All right. Well, I guess that's it for the night. So, everyone, thanks for tuning in or watching the replay, whichever. And we'll see you next week with Justin Shinkaro. Or Shinkaro, however you want to say it. I don't know. I'll find out the correct way, just like...
right, yeah.
Right, yeah, maybe it's said totally different. All right, have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.